Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
Yay-lo.
Hi.
Hey, J-Lo.
That's a good new one.
Yeah, I like that one. Okay, hi. Hi. Still an apt impression of me after all these years. Hi.
Yeah.
What was the premise of that originally?
I don't know.
I think it was you doing me, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I don't think it was meant to be flattering in its inception, but now
I know it wasn't meant to be. I understand.
But now.
Wait, let me jot this down. Insults not meant to be flattering. Okay. Hi. That's my Burt Reynolds Carson. You see, they can't see it at home, but I'm like, Lonnie, what's her name?
The good
Lonnie?
news is that the people at home can imagine something better than is actually taking place.
That's why our show is magical. People say, why don't you film why don't you film it? Yes, exactly. What's more attractive than 2 Jews talking for 2 hours is seeing them talk.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I had for that. I didn't prepare it.
So things got a little hairy here over the weekend. That was, we were all like, no, we're no problem, the other day. But now, and then Friday night, the sky glowed orange here in the valley for a bit. And
you sent me both. I mean, I have a roof. And let me tell you something. If anything happens in this condo.
I have a roof.
If anything happens in this condo, I'm not heroically saving it. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Come on, neighbors. I'm getting I must save this drab 4-story monstrous structure. Yeah, now, a lot of times I realize on the show that I bring up things that we talked about before.
Yeah.
Often. Because I don't realize it. And I think that even though I smoke 3.5 days a week and not any less, and certainly not more, that my memory, okay, I can't remember what I was saying now. My memory's bad. Okay, but my memory's always been bad for things that are like unimportant, I claim. Uh-huh. So
like stuff other people said.
Yes. Yeah. So I was able to remember when this current tragedy started. It is a tragedy, and I'm doing a comedy show this week, and they said, and they over the weekend they emailed me and they said, "Hey, we're thinking about turning it into a thing helping the survivors." Hello, why don't you check back with me on Tuesday? I might be a survivor, something like that.
I might be a survivor.
Yes, because. In other words, there's for the evacuees. I should have said for the evacuees.
There you go. All right.
I could be an evacuee. Okay. How come it's one word? That's it. One word. One word.
We were one grid away. We were one grid away from the evacuation warning. We weren't one grid away from evacuation.
I thought you were one grid away from this being funny, is what you're saying.
No.
With the evacuee.
That's always the case. We're always one grid short.
Right. So I remembered when this started. It started on Tuesday morning. And the reason why it started on last Tuesday morning is when it started in the Palisades. I don't follow the news because I hate the news, and so I don't even know. I don't even know that there's
someone else isn't in the news.
Someone else. This guy knows. This guy probably knows more about more about what I'm trying to talk about than me. I noticed it was extreme. I noticed on Tuesday when I walked out to smoke my joint after not smoking for 3.5 days.
So did you think you started it with your joint?
Yes, because it was very windy that day. And you may laugh, but people who suffer from OCD will really relate to this, and others can continue to mock me. But the next day, I actually thought I had caused a fire the previous day in Sherman Oaks somewhere.
Wow.
Sherman, you know how the people had these people calling from Sherman Oaks, lying that they could see houses on fire, not that they could see it burning over the ridge. But I live in Sherman Oaks. I see fire. They were saying the Galleria was on fire, all these things.
Who was saying that?
People who were lying.
Ah.
They may not even be from Sherman Oaks. I never heard Sherman Oaks used so much in a way in which I found unappealing.
Yes.
Why can't they have
like
it
you might have to leave Sherman Oaks. Sherman Oaks might be on fire soon. It's really
why
bad.
is it not always Van Nuys? You know why? Because Sherman Oaks is closer to the evacuation.
It's been a real geography lesson for a lot of Angelinos. Just because we were driving around a mountain to get to Brentwood doesn't mean it wasn't right there.
Well, also, all these things that you hear, McKittridge, you don't even know what you're listening to. Mulholland Drive, McKittridge Canyon, Meshtaki River is, and you could have a name like Sepulveda. It could be the Sepulveda River, and it could be in Northern California. Not maybe Sepulveda, but there could be anywhere in California. There could be, when they're coming up over the hills, they're not hitting our house. They're hitting Rick Messina. Right? It's not. This isn't terrorism. It was
very
South
strange
Ventura.
Watching a DC-10 do a water dump on TV, and then flying off, and then having it fly right in front of my window.
I can't even believe that. Yes. I can't believe that. I'm going to execute the joke for you. Well, you did the joke.
What
you
joke?
Could never. Well, you just texted me that never could you more comfortably hover and observe something than from the.
Oh, no, there is a certain comfort in being able to keep an eye on a natural disaster.
From the comfort
from your
of
home.
your own home.
That was what it was like all of Friday night. I'd sort of wake up, look out the window, see where the glow was at,
And of course, when you're in an evacuation warning area, you forget to have sympathy or empathy in the moment when, not that you said it this way, Josh, you went, I think it's pointing south. I mean, that's not the way you said it, but we were hoping it's pointing south. And that moment, I lived in Brentwood. And in that moment, I'm not thinking of my friends in Brentwood. I'm thinking of, it's going south. Right. God bless them down there.
Thank you, General Santa Ana.
I used to think that my knowledge of weather, much like my knowledge of geography, was unbelievably vast and broad.
Yeah.
But I still cannot understand, is there a place in Santa Ana where they whip up wind? What do you mean it's coming from? Is it just, why don't you just say it's coming from that direction? And now you're saying, no, Andy, because it's actually coming from Santa Ana. You're going to tell, yes, but so is everything around me coming from somewhere else. And this is why I should read those books about physics and spirituality.
It's not enough for El Nino to be the boy. I need to know what boy.
And there's no are you saying there's no El Niñas just because it's a Spanish word?
No, there is. That's what we're in this year.
Are you lying to me? Are you talking about the way they used to the way they would humanize hurricanes from, it's Matilda, it's Bertha, hurricane your mother. Hey, folks, how did you survive hurricane my nagging wife? Named.
You okay?
I'm not okay, but ready to go on.
All right.
But we did talk about it on last Friday's show, though. That's the thing that I'm trying to get across.
But as of last Friday's show, we were sort of feeling like we were in the lucky zone. And then later that day, we felt like we could be in the unlucky zone, is all my point. And
all I'm saying is, I am not claiming, like, so here's what someone like Denise Crosby. She's the granddaughter of Norm of Bing Crosby. Yes. So she says, my house was destroyed, and I lost this, and she's just giving a diary. Someone goes, hey, fuck you, you fucking celebrity. At least you're a celebrity. You're a celebrity already.
I don't know. I know she's not a high-level celebrity because I've talked to her before.
Right, but my point is, there's no way at that point that she's going, it was never lived my white privilege before now. And I just
didn't read anything, but I don't know what I mean, what was the tone of it? Was it self-pitying or was it?
No, she's just reporting that she had just lost her house that day, and it made her think about this, and it made her think about that, and grateful for this, grateful. It wasn't even like a thing like, I lost my house and other people shouldn't have.
It's not a time for first thought theater.
Right, but I mean, the first thought theater is people going in and going, you're a celebrity, what are you worried about? And I was thinking, that's when I start getting mad. Because you could argue that we're celebrities on some level. When people go, I saw you on Mystery Science Theater 3000, right. You're a celebrity. So there was one of our listeners had written in a thing about sort of accusing you of being sort of white privilegey, and because so it was something like, we can't all get a Bob's Burger spot, blah blah blah, and I'm like, do you really think he's in a let him eat cake? This guy who's been like in the hardest profession for 35 years and finally bought a home for himself when he was 60? Is he really like? And don't think it's like. This guy in Channel 4 was so annoying. I don't know. He's Robert Conan. No, not Conan. He's good. Robert Kovacic or something like that. He's saying to Dennis Quaid, what is that? He's literally saying to Dennis Quaid, what does Dennis Quaid do now? What is Dennis Quaid going to do? And Dennis Quaid goes, well, at least it's you referring to me in the third person.
Right. No, this guy, I saw some of the Dennis Quaid, and this guy was way too enthralled by the fact that Dennis Quaid was packing his car.
It's just like, you don't want a star fucker when you're interviewing people who are evacuating.
Can I come with you, Dennis?
Where are we going? You lost 3 children last year, and now, hey! It's ripped torn. I can't think of one current person alive.
Let's look at Dennis Quaid's hamper.
So, all of that thing of like, there's just so much base thinking that has become, we thought that Twitter was like a magical wonderland where you had virtual coffee and you high-fived your neighbor. Now it's just a complete disaster land of everybody who's
just social media in general. That's true. I was talking to Allison about how the bad feelings that social media have given me over the years have really changed. It used to be sort of FOMO and jealousy of people's gigs, and and boy, that looks like a nice vacation home, and that and now it's just like, we're fucking doomed. People are the worst. Oh my God, I have to leave.
Now, what is Allison's reaction as someone who I'm sure she hates? I think anybody's on Facebook, I don't think they like Mark Zuckerberg. But she probably doesn't hate Mark Zuckerberg like I've always hated him, because she probably doesn't hate that much. But what is she's that's a social media outlet she enjoys.
Yeah, I don't think she has any feelings about it one way or the other.
That's what I mean. She uses it. She doesn't think of it as
she's very much one of those talk to your friends users.
Right.
She doesn't. She's not in the. She's. I don't know. I don't really. Obviously, I don't know what she does on Facebook, but what she describes is much more insular.
Yeah, but she's not on Facebook. See, if I was on Facebook, which I was
with her cousins in Australia, and it's like it's kind of like
right. Which I think is, and that's the thing. If you use it properly, I think it probably is a great thing. But I mean, not a great.
No, but she felt horrible today coming off of it. We were just talking about that because she. Because everybody's on the war path now about the fires and stuff, and just in total blame mode. And it's like, even I'm like, hurricane winds, going through a tinderbox. What do you do?
Here's the thing. I'm trying to spiritually, and I mean this honestly, disconnect myself from my opinions. There's this great book. It's called Letting Go. And he talks about, if you have an opinion, everybody has an opinion about everything. Everybody. And then it doesn't. He goes, the opinion you currently have in the grand scheme of things means nothing, probably. So then you're in an argument. Now you're defending your stupid opinion when someone's threatening it that you shouldn't have even, had to begin with.
Right.
To be right. So I that really, really does work for me a lot more now, where I can go, I don't get as, I mean, you can get, if you get, I lost what I was going to say, but if you get outraged or you don't get outraged, why is it that sometimes it's going well? And when I say going well, I don't mean that I'm listening to you, having a nice conversation. No. It's just that I'm feeling euphoric.
Yeah, and you're thinking one thought at once.
So I don't know what I was going with there, and I don't know what you were saying, and I don't expect you to
You were
go back
talking
to it.
about there's no real point in having such voracious loyalty to your opinion.
Right. And then because...
And I feel like I've changed some in that way, too, just because I've been wrong about so much shit over the last 10 years that I just like, we'll see what happens. You know?
Right. Now I remember the connection. Hate to interrupt you, which I normally don't say. Karen Bass. I voted for Karen Bass. I like Karen Bass a lot. I don't know. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of her. So I read this one article in the Los Angeles Times, which I kind of hate now, but it can be done. It's like going, it's actually mixed whether this whole thing of like, she cut the budget. No, it's not true. She raised the salaries of firefighters tremendously. I'm not even saying this article is true,
right.
But the point is like going, I can make the choice, and if I make the choice to defend Karen Bass, and then I get into that whole,
right.
I love her. I make the choice to disconnect from the blame of Karen Bass or the fire department. I got a little mad at the fire chief 5 minutes into the thing, going, "We don't have money," but I'm not going to. Ultimately, you can't. Your opinion means nothing in that case.
Right.
Eventually. If that's what I'm holding, I like Karen Bass. I'm a Democrat. She's a Democrat. Can't I let it go at that? Unless she's accused of killing someone.
Well, I mean, I think more time will give us more information.
Right.
But during the thing, when it's just everybody going, she went to blah 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 when it was fun, it wasn't.
That was Rick Caruso who ran for mayor. In other words, like the mayor of Los Angeles has to be in the county of Los Angeles when anything happens.
Right. Meanwhile, he's got his own private firefighting force protecting his properties.
Who is that guy? Tell people who that guy is.
He's like the developer who developed the Grove.
Oh, okay. And Kardashian was endorsing him. A lot of people were endorsing him.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, there might be plenty of reasons to be fucking pissed at Karen Bass, but we can do that in a month.
Even the stuff with the water pressure. Like I had to read an article. My Susan, we both go, well, they had a reservoir. They get stopped. They said they empty the reservoir. No, they have these reservoirs who are on routine checking. They're actually checking to see if there was something wrong with the reservoir.
Right.
So no, they shouldn't fill it up with poison water because you have been told that could have saved the wildfire,
right.
Or that the water pressure. You know what's interesting?
No, yeah, it would have provided another 15 minutes of water or whatever.
Yeah.
Based on, when everybody leaves their house with their hose running, and
yes. So you know what that makes me? It's so weird. You know how people I think Reagan made people. I was telling Susan, Reagan made people say, you know what the 7 scariest words are in the English language? We're the government and we're here to help.
Right.
And telling how your taxes should not be taxed and how you shouldn't have to pay for medical care. He got people to never trust the government. Never trust the government.
Yeah,
not
like Trump has, though.
Right. So I'm saying now, by this time, it's supercharged. I'm now the other way. I do not.
And I would contend that Nixon had a lot more to do with people not trusting the government than Reagan. Even
okay, so they're both. Reagan was your hero, so now you're going to defend. Blah, blah, blah. No, I know what you're saying, but the point is that okay, I think I made my point. Take it away. I kind of made a point, right? What was my point?
I don't know. I have no idea.
How come? Can we not use out of the woods in a fire situation? We're in a fire situation. Can't we say we're not? Use nautical terms, maybe. Don't tell me we're not out of the woods. Because I go, I get it. You're not out of the fire. No, I know that's not what they're saying. Oh. They're going out of the woods could refer to any kind of dam. It could be a post earthquake. Well, you would be out of the woods then. Uh-huh. We're not out of the woods yet because here's one. We're not out of the woods yet because some of these aftershocks can be deadly. That makes sense. But we're not out of the woods yet on that fire. It's like Groucho is hosting a fire.
It's not a forest fire. It's a brush fire. So
yeah, but
it's not trees. Yeah. Trees aren't the problem here.
What does
brush
Dennis
and houses are the fuel here?
What does Elvis Weinstein think about this? What's his position? I'm telling you,
my agent lost both his houses. That was one of the things that Dennis Quaid said.
What was that? We talked about that, right?
My agent lost both his houses.
Oh, I heard this the other day. I don't know if it's a great show. I don't know if it's not, but it's the worst promotions I've ever heard. Will Trent. It's like, here comes another show that's named two guys. Will Trent. They go, named by reviewers as one of the best procedurals on network TV.
I haven't heard a fucking thing about Will Trent. I have no idea what it is or what you're talking about.
It's a procedural of some kind that's coming to CBS. I watched a couple if there still was a Montreal, I could do these jokes, but no one would know what I'm talking about. But they rolled out some.
You'd have to write them first.
But they rolled out some. I just happened to be watching their new fall
season. So far, we're just at Will Trent. 2 names. Will Trent again. That's all.
Well, you know what? Blame the goddamn promotion. Shouldn't they go, Will Trent, he's a lawyer and he's mad. No, Will Trent. I'm Will Trent.
This is why you need to watch football games 20 minutes behind. Fast forward right through Will Trent.
Yeah, so I watched Dennis. I don't understand why these shows are made. I know Dennis Leary made Rescue Me, but why do we have to have a show called you don't even know. This is an ABC show.
I know, but I just want an actual thing instead of why do we have to have another thing with him?
It's called it has a name that doesn't relate to it, but he's in the Army. He's a high up Army guy. Right. And a lot of people you've seen on sitcoms before, somebody Putty or somebody. He's in it. And then there's Kat Dennings and Tim Allen. The Tim Allen, you know what that's called?
A sitcom.
No, Switching Gears. Switching Gears. I'm telling you, I'm not saying I want to do it.
One punchline. Come up with one thing besides just indignance at a cast.
I'm just describing to you. Okay, well, I wrote a joke about that Tim Allen is MAGA dad. And I don't care about the joke I wrote about him. I just think he's a right-wing asshole who's teamed up with Kat, who's convinced all these other people. He just can't stop. I'm not on stage now, so I could just say he can't stop. But also the idea that, and I know what you're saying, it's their networks, but if there was ever a canary in the coal mine, they've had canaries in the coal mine for 30 or 40 years of, and I think what you're going to say is, doesn't matter whether they do game shows, doesn't matter whether they do stupid procedurals, it's never going to come back. But I think it looks desperate when you're making these shows like St. Dennis and all these shows that bring nothing. At one point, St. Elsewhere and procedurals, Law and Order and Hill Street, that's where you went for crime stuff.
Right,
you don't go to the networks.
No one watches network television anymore.
Okay.
No.
Well, you know what?
2 million people watch St. Dennis.
Okay, you talk about what you saw that was in pop. I'm trying to think of the third show I saw.
I saw a bunch of our city burning. That's what I watched mostly.
Okay, you're better than me. You're better than me. But we didn't have we didn't have the mistaken text even by Friday when we were talking?
What do you mean?
The text that said evacuate. We talked about it, right?
We did, yes.
Okay. So that actually did make my legs I actually went really nervous from that point on. It was so nerve wracking because you see the map and we're the one city right there.
No, yeah, no, I was 100% nerve wracked on Friday night and Saturday morning.
Because usually I think you're more calm about things.
Well, I mean, I wasn't running around going, but I was like, honey, I think we need to actually get some stuff together.
And did you actually get stuff together?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And here's the thing
I was shocked at how little I gave a shit about, really, honestly. It was a very small amount that I felt was irreplaceable in my life.
And what did you find irreplaceable? I mean, you don't have to say exactly what were you looking at.
I mean, I took some actual valuables because I could sell them if I needed to, you know?
Right.
And I took, a couple of photos, and then it was, beyond that, it was like what's essential data, really. You know, it's laptop, it's hard drives from movies that I shot, and, you know, it's things like that.
Which you do want to take, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to the actual packing of hard drives, but I located the ones I would take.
Yeah, that's good, because I mean, like, it's hard for like Susan, you know, your negatives. I mean, you don't want, in that case, you might want to save a Polaroid that you really like for something else, and then just multiply that by 1,000. She has, like, not 1,000, but she has a lot of stuff.
I put this ring on that I had gotten from my dad at my bar mitzvah that
cool.
I haven't worn in 10 years, but I was like, well, I can put it on rather than let it burn. So.
Yes. I made this mistake, and I clarified, because, you know, I don't know if people know this. I have OCD. I'm not someone who likes to dwell on it except every other thought, but that's what OCD does. But here's an OCD I've had trouble for years going on the road. We've talked about it. Yeah. I bring the whole house with me. So very similarly, I noticed Sunday night when I started to decompress, because I found this better system of, if I'm really rushing and I want to take, just throw it into a bag if it's those kind of things.
Right.
If it's like but when I actually realized that I spent time getting together $40 of wet ones. You know what I mean? Right. This is definition of replaceable.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to bring masks.
Literally disposable things.
Right, but it's like, okay, and also, like, even masks. You know, I gotta have these masks. I could probably drive an hour north and get a bunch of masks.
You could drive 10 minutes north and be safe and getting masks.
That's exactly.
I mean, that was the thing. Is it's like, I know we're not like, it's not like the whole valley's going to go up. You know, I'm going to go to Studio City or something. That's where I'm evacuating to. I'm not going to, like, the high desert or something. You know. So, and I honestly, my fear was of evacuation more than it was of my house burning down, just because, you know, I knew that it was, you know, it had to cross 10 lanes of the 405 and go up from the Sherman Oaks Hills downhill against the wind to us, you know. So I was, it was
wishful thinking that there's not a lot of brush around here.
There's not any brush around here. There's a lot of watered lawns around here, you know. So, you know, the houses would be fuel once it gets here, you know.
Right. But you didn't think it was going to come.
I didn't. I thought there was a realistic chance we were going to get evacuated.
Yes.
Like that. My fear was about 70% we might get evacuated, but my fear of actually coming back to a charred home was like 5%.
Well, I would say this. I think that says a lot about you in terms of materialism. You're not really materialistic, and I can make the argument that, well, I have a condo. You know, there's nothing invested more than like the other people in this condo.
Right.
But I definitely where my uncomfortableness rests is in staying in strangers' homes, or, you know, all of that stuff you think about.
Absolutely.
Which is,
but it was fear.
And that's the stuff.
It was fear of inconvenience more than tragedy.
Right. And would you, like, a couple of people said we can come to their home, but I would rather not go to someone's home if I can afford it. I'm an old man who has money coming in every month.
No, I mean, I had many offers around the city to go to, and I would have gone to one of them because first of all, I don't think you could have gotten a hotel room at that point, and second,
no, but you're saying a couple hours north?
No, here in like Silver Lake or Culver City or
no, I thought you said you could drive north and you'd be out of the whole thing. I could go to Bakersfield if I had to.
No, but I'm saying you could go to North Hollywood. You know, it's not. It's because the evacuation wasn't like for the entire valley. It would have just been for our neighborhood. You know.
But let's say you waited till after
if you needed to, but
right. But I don't want to get in gridlock. I don't want to be on gridlock on Sepulveda Boulevard because I waited too long.
Right. Well,
which I know you knew that you wouldn't.
Take Van Nuys. It's a grid. The valley is a grid.
It is so heartbreaking.
I'm just saying it wasn't an evacuation of the city. It was an evacuation of a neighborhood.
I think all anticipatory anxiety, especially as someone who suffers from anticipatory anxiety, and my family does, is far worse than what happens when bad thing actually happens. I can only point to the bad things that have happened in my life, getting held up. And it's like, I haven't had to evacuate, but to say to myself, that's one thing I couldn't do, is just because you're in a house and you're going stir crazy and all you're doing is your imagination is going wild.
Yeah.
So I'm not making sense. In other words, if it was a real emergency, I probably wouldn't even be as worried as I am now about, I don't want to use a public bathroom, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Where am I going to get good food from?
Yes, you'd stiffen up in the actual occurrence.
We hope.
Probably, I believe so.
Well, I came up with a
just so
nickname.
you don't look like an asshole for no other reason.
Macron basically destroyed France, and I don't even want to get into it, but he did. There's this.
Oh no, I'd love to hear you get into it.
Well, there's this group called the RN. They're Nazis. They're called Rassemblement. It stands for Rassemblement National. It's just older Nazis are together in a party. And their leader is they have a leader now who doesn't look like a Nazi.
The Nazis are here. Now it's a party.
But they have a fresh-faced, it's Marine Le Pen's party.
Uh-huh.
And now they have a fresh-faced person. And, he just happens to have a nickname that fits me. And his nickname is Monsieur Selfie. I have been Monsieur Selfie.
Yes.
You recognize me from Raymond? Would you like a photo with Monsieur Selfie?
Here's a cameo coupon.
Monsieur Selfie. You ever think things that you want to? I'm never going to tweet it, but all during the thing, buy a cameo from me. If you, but not just buy one from me. If you know anybody who has been hurt or anything, buy a cameo from me. But it doesn't go further than that. It doesn't go on. It's just saying, in this time of trouble, send some money to a man in the evacuation warning area.
All right.
Do you see those photos of Altadena? I know everyone's seen them, but they are something I kind of never thought I would see. I always thought wildfires could only be in the woods. I get the Altadena, but when you see those pictures where they grid the whole thing out, and how many homes are gone, it's inconceivable to me. I've never seen something like that before in just regular major metropolitan areas. A city that's not far from downtown LA is gone.
All right.
That doesn't.
No, I mean I'm just aware of it. It's not new information, so I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gasping at it.
Well, it's 3 days old. I'm used to it. I'm used to it looking like a war zone because I saw it Friday.
Well, I mean, the weird truth of this city is, once this is over, we're not going to see or feel any effects of it. Really, it's not like we're spending a lot of time in the Palisades or in Altadena.
This is the part of you that I think is really. This is the part of you.
No, I'm not saying that in a callous way. I'm saying it's the bizarreness of the size of this city, is that you could lose the area of the city of San Francisco, was the last one I heard, out of this city, and have it not be a part of your daily life still.
Right.
How many cities not at all? It wasn't at all me being unfeeling or thank God we're not those people.
Right.
But it is it is a mind-bogglingly giant place.
And
LA County has a bigger population than 42 states.
Yes, and also I lived in West LA. I lived in Santa Monica. We lived in Brentwood. I would have been evacuated had I still lived on the West Side, and. But your mind goes to all different things. It's we picked the perfect spot, because then your mind goes to, and how about future tragedies? Andy, you're living 4 blocks from where there was an earthquake in '94. You know what I mean?
No,
There's
exactly.
no area.
That's why I don't feel like it's a perfect spot. I feel like it's a lucky spot this time.
It's a lucky spot this time. But I do feel
I was in this area for the earthquake, and it was super fucked up.
Oh, so was I.
You were here in the valley?
Yeah, at Toluca Lake. That was with Susan.
Oh, okay. Still not as bad as Liquid Earth Sherman Oaks.
Well, she drove down and got physically ill. She drove down from Sherman Oaks to your area. And it was hard. I mean, she got couldn't believe the devastation.
Yeah, it was awful.
Stop comparing your pain to mine. But no, I think you thought I was maybe in the South Bay or something, but I was not in the South Bay.
Yeah.
I helped the building. I was considered helpful in the building on January 17th, 1994, at Susan's building.
You were considered helpful?
Helpful, yeah. And then even we had to, horrible abjects, we went towards Pat. We had friends in Altadena. We had friends in Altadena whose house was miraculously saved. But that's where we went in the earthquake in 94 because they weren't as bad there. So that just gives more credence. I don't know why I was would never rationally argue that you could be in the perfect spot for anything.
All right.
And that's actually, you can cure yourself from OCD by realizing there's nothing you can't come up with. You know, you go, I have a panic room. No, that's not going to necessarily. Well, maybe a panic room would help.
Well, I mean, there are mitigating factors. I mean, the truth of the matter is that every house that burned in the Palisades was in a high fire risk area.
Oh, is that true?
Yes.
Oh, and were they not?
Which is why the insurance companies had been dropping people's policies.
Oh, how come I can't play? I think my father could have been right in this one regard. I'm stupid. Not in the other stuff you said, but I couldn't put two and two together because they were just saying, they were like, they canceled everybody. You know, it was Rob Schneider. They canceled everyone's policy 2 months ago.
Yeah, because there was too much risk for them as an insurance company. That's why they did it. It's not reasonable of them to do it necessarily, but that is why they did it.
Okay, so I don't have to run to my policy now. We're covered if we have insurance?
Yes.
Okay. But they passed these
things.
But
it's probably going to go up again now.
That's ridiculous. I'm not paying for West LA.
Should hang. But yeah, I mean, it's not like they deserve, it's not like anyone deserves to have lost their home, but there was a truth of the matter that they all knew that this was a high risk area.
Wow.
There was a dice roll going on by anyone who lived there. Not a giant one, and it's not like they were living on the edge as far as I'm concerned.
They probably thought they weren't living on the edge. They weren't on a mountain, hanging off the mountain in Malibu.
But in fact, it was,
Wow. So here's the thing. I have friends who live. Do you know who the friends? I'm not going to say their names, but do you know who they are who live there? A couple of people.
Well, I know some people. I don't know who your particular friends are.
But you do know who I'm talking about. But I really don't want to mention them.
Okay.
But these are people who have made a lot of money, and I used to be so. And I love them. First of all, they're people I love, but they went there because they had a lot of disposable money from writing
James
TV.
Wood's name again, I'm going to be.
It is James. God damn you! I've seen the other side to him. But I'm sure. But when I've thought about Pacific Palisades,
I know how you and the Gibsons are close.
Well, that's the thing I think is so great. Mel Gibson was not at home when his house was destroyed.
No, he was
doing
Joe Rogan's show.
I had a Rogan fan. I was just slamming Rogan, and the Rogan fan goes, "Yeah, it's not true what you're saying. He was going to, Kamala was going to do an hour with him, but she wanted him to fly to Washington, but he didn't want to fly to Washington. So don't. What is it? They heard him entertainingly talk about LSD or ayahuasca, so they really then start to believe. Oh, I guess he does. He's like a sage. So they were defending. Okay, but
I don't understand what point they were defending.
I don't even know what point I was making. So anyway, no. Give me one sentence from it. I'll tell you exactly.
Joe.
Oh, Kamala. Oh, they're a pro Joe Rogan listener who objects to me saying, I say, if you go on Joe Rogan, you're a fucking asshole. And he has, whatever I said, my usual shtick.
And they were saying, but Kamala was willing to go on.
Right, but no, not even defending Kamala. It's not. I presented it. I can't set up things. He's defending Joe Rogan.
No, I understand, but they're saying that if you're saying if you go on Joe Rogan, you're horrible, And they're saying, well, Kamala was willing to go on Joe Rogan. She just didn't.
That's right. That's the argument. Yeah. Even Kamala. That's right. That's what he was saying. Well, Kamala wanted to go on Joe Rogan. Why didn't I see what you just saw was he was saying if Kamala wants to go on Joe Rogan, that somehow affects Joe Rogan's value as a person. You know what I mean? It's like, so he is. So I think what these people are, I don't want to put this.
He was defending Joe Rogan's guests, sort of, because
no, he loves Joe Rogan. He loves Joe Rogan, and if you love Joe Rogan, I think you love the show, and you think it's like the greatest show. It's like if you love the Dr. Oz show, and you think green coffee is going to make you live
your
forever.
Weekly truth bath.
I think, isn't it daily?
I don't know how often it is. But
So
it
what was
probably
that?
is.
But my point was, when I started to work in TV, like, you know, getting spots on shows, and you knew people who, most of them writers, they were living in the Pacific Palisades. They were living, and I thought, I would really like to live in that area. I would never have, and I said, oh, look at the hills. I would never have thought, oh, it's a higher risk area. I would just think, you can't get more lush.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I was sort of semi-ironically being grateful that I wasn't more successful, because I don't, the only upgrade I could make from this house would be to a view,
And that could be anywhere south of Ventura. You could be very, very nervous.
Yes.
I'm fine because I live on Laurel Canyon.
But because I have so long hated the vibe of the West Side, I don't think I would have ended up over there.
Yeah. I ended up on the West Side because I wanted, for the simple reason that when I drove out here in 1978 and I came up through San Diego and Laguna Beach, that's what I thought Los Angeles was going to be like.
Well, and I think if you were, if you were coming here just because I want to live in LA, like you were kind of, like I would totally choose the beach, because that's part of the cool thing about LA. And
I think you can vouch for the fact that Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach are much more beachy areas. Even though I love Santa Monica, but you feel a little bit more.
Yeah, no, Santa Monica feels like a part of the city that borders the ocean as opposed to a beach city.
Right. That's near Palos Verdes and all that kind of stuff. So no, I totally get that. For me, it was just like I knew I was coming out here to sort of get a job and live a life, and all my friends mostly lived in the Valley, so that's why I chose the Valley. I find it amazing that I did not pay attention. I wasn't aware of what I was going through when I was going through it. So I just, I always have told you this story. I told you the story. I came out, I did the 17-mile drive, and this was after I'd left New York and drove out here, wanted to be a rock and roll star.
What is the 17-mile drive?
Or the 12, the scenic drive. It goes through Carmel.
Oh, okay.
It's called the 17. It goes, not Big Sur. It's like Carmel and that famous Pebble Beach golf course, and it's just maybe having the amount of miles drive it is wrong. But I actually, this is the thing. This show, I will admit things that don't matter, but this is exactly how I felt. I would be crying. I was like, I can't. I want a home like this. How am I going to get to this home? So it's just like so long, and the other one was I want better food.
You were like pre-jealous is kind of what you were doing.
No, I thought I had a good band in college. I did some theater work. Bob Dylan had made it by the time he was my 18. It was just a whole twisted misunderstanding of what life was about. Now maybe other people would attach it to something else. Like everything looked like a crazy dream. Like it didn't look like, oh, you could be a stand-up comedian. I didn't think about any of those things. They all seemed like just, oh, I want to be the most famous, whatever.
It was funny because my crazy dream was Writers Guild minimum, $2,200 a week.
Yeah.
That was my crazy dream. Like that was the number that I was like had in my head as Writers Guild minimum, because it was much better than I would make on the road, or about the same as I would make as a headliner, but it would be in one place all the time. If
you heard about your career and still didn't know about the businesses you're in, you would think that guy is one of the richest guys. He's wealthy. He's written on all these sitcoms. He's rolling in it. He probably walks down the street tossing dollar bills.
Me?
Right?
You're talking about?
Yes, you. Yes. Mystery Science Theater 3. Look at what you've been on.
That's
Probably
right.
made a fortune on that one.
Cowtown Puppet Show. Notoriously.
But I'm just saying, like, the things that you're saying now that don't mean anything to you, well, maybe you weren't like me. If I was thinking I'm going to be a writer, like an idiot, I would be thrilled at everything you've done, right? I mean, or a comic, and we're in the same field. We should be thrilled by the things that we've done. I feel like we should not thrilled like we're walking around going, we're the greatest, but we should be happy. But, and I would have thought like that, like, oh, Willie Mays just likes to go on sitcoms because it's fun. Or I just wouldn't have, anybody on TV I thought really was
had
wealthier,
had
any involvement with it at all.
Right.
And it's not true, my friend.
It's not necessarily true.
Well,
it's true for a time. And then
yes, my parents' house was bought for $30,000 in 1960, and it was like $1 million by the time sold. But there hasn't been a comparison like, I guess if inflation had kept going up at that rate, it would be, I don't think we could even calculate it. It'd be like, oh, your Toyota is $40 million? You know what that is in 1980 money? $2,000. But it stopped the inflation. Oh, God.
What are we talking about? What the fuck?
They stopped inflation with the Federal Reserve and whatever that guy's name was who was hated. He stopped inflation by cooling down the markets, which they're still able to do. But the inflation was up to 20% on houses and things like that. You're too young to remember it. Who's that guy? Volcker. Anything?
Yeah, Paul Volcker.
Yeah, he was hated because he forced the economy to slow down. So I think on a world level, they have figured out certain ways to avoid certain things, but didn't stop them from avoiding the 2008 catastrophe. It's just that certain things like inflation getting out of control doesn't always happen if you have cooperation between different countries. But then there's still countries now where there's a $1,000 inflation, 1,000% inflation.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. All right, now look, I'm reacting.
Wow,
I just want people to know that I'm reacting to him making funny faces.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to pick out a point here.
I'm saying that inflation as a worldwide problem was arrested. If Volcker hadn't done it, maybe this country would have gone out of business. I don't know what would have happened, but they did not have, when the Depression happened in 1929, they did not have any controls in place. And even after 1929, they had more controls in place. Not enough to stop 2008. I never said it wasn't a fascinating discussion. It's that you decide when you exit instead of going, you have to have your eyes rotated.
Well, no, there's no discussion here. You're making a counterpoint to a point that wasn't made. Is my thing.
So you could just go. You could come back to me with something. You come back to me and go.
Mama, how did I get here? I'm scared out of my skin. I didn't know I was a sinner. I wish I could come back home. Now it's a baby of mine.
Is that a new hat, or am I just so non-aware?
The latter. The latter.
Okay, is it the Flying Ducks?
No, it's the El Paso Chihuahuas in honor of our latest family member.
Oh, God Almighty! When I think of things, look, that's the type of. Now, does Does Cody play for the El Paso Chihuahuas?
Uh huh.
Oh, you can tell it's going to be a good morning.
He's the designated shitter.
Oh God!
I knew I could get you off of it.
You did. Good job. Good job. What else is in the news? How come they never open the news? Let me
just say something off the bat, Andy. Pace yourself, because I forgot to post questions yesterday.
Oh my God! I thought this would be easy because we had such a great Monday. I don't remember Monday.
Who remembers?
I think you hung up on me or something. You hung up on me. I think you did something to me on Monday.
That would be fucking awesome if literally you held a grudge from me hanging up on you every single week from Monday to Friday.
I don't understand it. You think the weeks would go by and that this thing would get better. But no, you rudely hang up on me. I'm not only a bad comedian, I'm the world's stupidest comedian. There's two parts to it.
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to? That's how I have you in my phone book.
Is what?
World's dumbest and a cross-reference to world's worst. What was it?
Well, it seems like a million years since the thing started, and it seems like a million years now since it ended.
Are you talking about our careers or the fires?
Well, that's always true. But the fire. And I felt like it took a lot out of me. Not really. Nothing got taken out of me. There's nothing left in me. How about that?
There is a fatiguing quality to being on alert. But
yes.
But it doesn't compare with the fatiguing quality of being evacuated or being homeless. Or
I like when any comment you make in the wake of a tragedy is always compared to.
But I'm lucky.
Tragedy. Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying it was bad. Yeah, I hope you're not saying it was as bad for you as for people who lost their home. Well, first of all, Josh, I couldn't afford a home. I'm gonna let's go.
No, but there's a lot of people in this town who have no sense of perspective. So I think it's warranted to clear up that we do at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about Denise Crosby?
Yeah, you ranted something about her.
I was defending her. I was saying it was just terrible what they were doing. She's going, and you're a celebrity. I mean, I lost my house. I lost my husband today. You're a celebrity, aren't you? You remain a celebrity. I just think it's a thing that I've actually thought in my life.
No, of course.
I've actually thought this. He's a celebrity.
Sure.
Like,
you've had enough good in your life. You deserve bad, is what that is.
Yeah, it's a prefabricated Schadenfreude or something along those lines. Well, yeah, you should have. Well, no, it wasn't
I hope
really hard.
they reissue your Oscar.
I feel though that nothing is going to be done now about the fires. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm depressed. What's this stupid thing is happening soon with that idiot? Is idiot going to be? What did he say last time? We will not have this. He had some phrase that everybody hated that he said.
Luckily, our recording is scheduled exactly for his inauguration on Monday. So.
Oh, I like that. I
can just have it on TV.
You won't hear me. You won't hear me call you and go, I had to ask the inauguration today.
They just moved it indoors, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because
he wouldn't have gotten a big crowd, or why?
Well, they're saying because of the cold. Wink, wink.
Now, here's the thing. Can't he be happy that he won the goddamn election?
He's happy. He's happy.
This is him happy?
This is him happy, exactly.
I don't know. I did come to a spiritual breakthrough, but I think these spiritual breakthroughs are things I've mentioned before.
Oh, sorry.
And the spiritual breakthrough, and you'd say to yourself, why wouldn't you have this years and years and years ago? And I've talked about it for many, many times. It's the point that I tend to
preamble every point. Oh, sorry. Sorry, spiritual breakthrough. Get back on it.
Yes. And it's going to sound stupid and silly, but I've already told this story. That
More preamble, for fuck's sake. What are you, Rachel Maddow?
So when I was 12 years old.
Oh, fuck.
I decided that Humphrey should win, that Humphrey would win. He would beat Nixon, and I was mocked in my home.
1968 for you younger folks.
Yeah, I was mocked in my home.
He likes Humphrey. He's a 12-year-old who has a political opinion that's not fully mature.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. Why wouldn't wouldn't there be an adult in the family to go, he's fucking 12? Would you leave him alone? He's 12. But what happened then is that I felt on a fundamental basis that, okay, add the thing about stupid, but also I was wrong. I was wrong because McCarthy, I should have supported McCarthy, who was the best candidate, even though he wouldn't have won. And as I'm telling it to you right now, I can still feel the shame of it. So this is the difference between my childhood and your childhood. You didn't have these kind of huge, dark moments of the soul where it's not like your family went out of their way to go, we're going to mock this stupid, young, stupid guy, and we're going to mock him, and then he's going to give his opinions. I heard Mayor Daley tried to stop it, or some stupid thing. All right, so
you have an age-appropriate level of sophistication about these matters. You have an age-appropriate level of sophistication about these matters. Meh, meh.
This is exactly, of course, what my therapist has pointed out to me. And so this has led to a lifelong Twitter argument, and it goes along like this. Let's say the people on Majority Report don't ever have me on again. I'm not saying they won't or they will have me on, but they might not ever have me on. But let's say they will have me on, right? Yeah. I have to stop oh my God, they're going to try and rip apart my politics when I go on their show. And that's probably why they stopped having me. In other words, buying into, first of all, that they've had some decision. They probably had not made that decision. But furthermore, thinking that if I go back on there, I have to admit something like what? Okay. And that's where I think the other side of, like Dave Anthony, those kind of people were very effectively got in with me because it just fed into that unknowingly, because to this day, I still have these OCD type arguments with myself about what the fuck is Israel doing? Why didn't I speak out earlier? Speak out to who, Josh?
Right.
Speak out to who? And so it's this super importance I've placed on
yourself.
Yes. Yes. Obviously it is a narcissistic point of view to come to, but my dad was my hero and my sister was my hero in many ways. And they both turned on me at different points. Had nothing to do with me. I don't think my sister, if I asked her about the argument with Mr. Stein, she would remember the argument.
No, it wasn't a tent pole in her life. But I mean, okay, well, I mean, there's a couple things. My point, I mean, not, your epiphany is your epiphany, but,
right.
I tend to be a little dubious when you pin a personality trait to a single event like that.
Oh, no, it can't be a single event. No, yeah. It's a cumulative. Don't forget, though, the other events you didn't care about, the Christmas that wasn't. I have a stocking. It has my name on here. Mom, do you know why I have a stocking with my name on it? How the fuck should I know?
But my advice really is, which is
Yes.
more productive than my criticism, I hope, is, realize that your only credential in these conversations is comedian.
Right. If
You
you're
know
going to
what I
talk
mean?
about
And so it's
making a
like-
difference, making any kind
Yeah,
of
so
difference. Right.
you can be wrong. It's okay. You're a fucking comedian. You're taking your
Right.
best shot at any given time.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think what you're saying is absolutely right. It's also this book that I've been listening to called Letting Go, which is a really great book. It's been around forever. But the point is that, he talks about how everybody has opinions, and opinions are irrelevant because eventually your opinion will be proved wrong or it'll be proved right. But the point is this constant, I have to prove my opinion is right, is just totally based on being too tied to the opinion.
Right.
Right? And then why am I so tied to the opinion? Because on some level, I do believe Dave Anthony knows something about me because he was there maybe when I made the decision to vote for Humphrey, for all I know.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it could sound silly to some people. How could you not realize this earlier? And it's not like I didn't realize it earlier. It's because I realized it more and more and more that my opinions are irrelevant. Not that they're irrelevant, but hanging on to them and constantly trying to I was against the second Gulf War. I'll have these discussions with myself in my head.
Right.
So it feels like a break. It does feel like a breakthrough because all of Twitter to me was one of those, we're going to gang up on you or we're going to agree with you.
Right.
If you play Twitter that way. Like I said, vote for Kamala Harris. And they're like, you're voting for Kamala Harris after Genocide Joe
Right.
did this, that, and the other. Now, if I was a well-adjusted person, which I think I am now more, I wouldn't. Why would I even respond to it? How could that get in?
Right.
So life's perfect now. I guess what I'm saying.
Oh, that's perfect. That's fantastic. Well, I'm dealing with the same spectrum of issues here, but I'm having, but obviously from a different angle because it's like my emotional instinct right now is like tune the fuck out. You
Yes.
know? Because there's no comfortable place to both be informed and not full of rage,
Well said.
But I can't be the uninformed person,
Right.
comfortably either, so I have to sort of at least disengage from the opinion levels of it.
Yes, that makes sense to me.
I even watched like fucking World News Tonight yesterday.
No,
just
no.
because they don't stop for a fucking discussion between stories,
Which one, David Muir?
Yeah,
Oh,
just because it was on
okay.
like at a weird.
He's
like,
very
it
handsome.
was on at like 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I could make this a habit. But it's like I said, it's in my emotional voice says it's like an allergic reaction. Don't do that. Don't watch this. Don't engage because you fucking hate almost everybody right now.
Right.
And that's true largely online too. Like any kind of engagement with the world as it is right now makes me
unpleasant.
Makes me almost at best angry.
Yeah, that's true.
At worst,
That's true.
bottoming out. So I don't know. So I mean, obviously, we're going to have to find that balance on some level, but I'm trying not to get pre-angry at least. At shit.
I think it's everything you said makes 100% to me, but it's like the same thing. It's like, how do you?
But
yourself?
before I forget, but also connected to what you're saying is that I don't feel like I need to be, I have to disconnect from the idea that I need to be informed in order to share my opinion with the world. It's more, I need to be informed because that's what my comfort is, and I would, when I actually am speaking to someone face to face or whatever this is, I like being informed, and I like being able to have, I like being able to have those conversations with people, not with accounts.
Yes.
But I don't feel like, but the reason the back to the emotional voice of like disengage is like part of that is like, because nothing you say will have any effect on any outcome.
Well, that's absolutely true.
And so
that's absolutely true.
The value of getting engaged on that level is practically nil, except for attention of some kind,
Right. And getting angry at people, it's like giving into the algorithm is very easy for me.
Yeah.
To give into the algorithm. Because there's so many, if you go to the Musk place, there's so many people who are designed to bother you or to make you feel horrible in every area that you care about.
Yeah.
That's all they're trying to do.
Aside from just like looking up news events.
Yeah.
To see what's happening, because Twitter still sort of is easier to navigate in that way. To get to the trending topic and see what actually happened, not what people think about it.
Right.
But I spend I spend no time on there really, but just because of the fires, I've popped on there over the last couple of weeks. But I don't post there anymore, and I don't engage it over there. I just was looking for facts.
Well, I can see the sky clearing, and that originally the best part of something like Twitter was just to make an observation and then go on with your day, and that was it. Not to get involved in it as a network of relationships, because it just isn't a network of relationships.
Right.
It's a bad idea. So if you're using it like I want to promote something, so I'll promote it wherever I can promote it, but I don't. But it's not going to be, if I go, I can't figure out this Instagram game. I don't see myself doing that.
Well, and you don't have the kind of numbers where it's going to make if you're a comic, there are comics who are competing with each other because of their followings,
Yes, and
but
their lines on.
You're not going to be one of them.
No.
So you're going to rise and fall on your reputation and your work, more than your follower count ever.
Is Segura's follower? Is he still touring like a madman? And yeah, it's such a different business with that model now. I mean, it really is a different. It's more of it now. You're more likely to get a big following through this than trying to hope for a TV show or something.
Well, I mean, Segura is the perfect example of someone who built his following through his podcast,
right?
And then just kept stacking on top of that. But he was never dependent. I mean, Netflix certainly put massive acceleration on the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he built his own thing, and he brought a huge audience to the table for his first Netflix special. You know what I mean?
Right.
We were talking about this, I think, last week with the Nate Bargatze thing. Is like arena comedy is commonplace now. It's like it was really the exception. When we were in our first, in the comedy boom. It was like if someone was playing an arena, they had to make it a rock and roll show.
Yeah, they had to.
Like Sam Kinison, Dice Clay. They had to make them in order to justify being in an arena, they had to make this rock and roll spectacle about their show.
I never bought.
Even Eddie Murphy with his leather suits and stuff had to
true.
make it rock and roll when they played the big rooms. And now it's a guy on a stage with a stool. In an arena, it's so commonplace now that it's not, you don't have to justify it anymore.
Right. But it also speaks to Chris Rock's, discomfort on Saturday Night Live, is the fact that he's a big room comic, that he's a big, his big specials were based on him. He had to repeat it twice sometimes because he was working a huge room or whatever, and he doesn't seem to be able to adjust
scale
to.
it back down.
He can't scale it back down.
I also felt like I think I said when I saw it is it's like I also feel like he's coming off as an old guy now, and his material wasn't as strong either. You know?
Yeah. But wait, I'm old. I'm older than him. No, that's not the point. I have to stop every time someone says old, think that they're attacking me, and I'm not even I'm not even a retired person member.
Yeah.
That's not the name of the group, is it? Retired persons? The AARP.
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated with them, but I am a spokesman.
You are.
I am a spokesman. In a real way.
I saw a thing of Bill Burr talking about how, you can't, this is in reference to the age thing. You can't, there's nothing sadder than someone trying to pretend they're hip almost, you have, if you're over 50 or whatever, you have to acknowledge that you're the crazy uncle and not.
Right. You're not. Yes.
Yeah.
You're Jim from Taxi now.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can just be sad,
Absolutely.
But there are people who get caught, who get really kind of stuck in that middle ground where they're still so tuned in to, they're trying so hard to tune in to young culture.
Right.
But they're not of that culture anymore.
Right. But also, for example, there before the grace of God go I, Amy Schumer, Sarah Silverman, all these people who speak out early on an issue, they get tied to that opinion. It's like, we were all shocked that these people got killed, horrible, Israelis got killed. But then it's, I think, hubris almost, and you start to misunderstand what a spokesperson's role is, and you start to assume you have more knowledge or something. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it happens where all of a sudden you have a guy like, I can see how it happens with that, who's the guy who's the son of the Improv owner, not the other Improv. What is his name?
Lano?
Yeah, Lano's son, Rappaport. Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
He's all of a sudden yelling about how Trump was right about Israel. And, he spent 8 years screaming about Trump's the worst. Now it's like you allow yourself, yes, you're Jewish, so you got some kind of a thing about it that got you upset, but then you just go right into the stratosphere of thinking about the Middle East and what's going on there. It's crazy to me. And I don't think there before the grace of God go, except I think anybody who is a comedian or has felt the power of getting a laugh, you can misinterpret that into thinking that you need to be a spokesperson.
You can misinterpret it any number of ways, but that feeling. I understand the instinct of all I have is influence, quote unquote. Yes. So I have to use it to whatever ends you're looking for.
Right.
But I don't think there's any way. Once you're having that conversation with yourself, there's already a sort of delusional quality to it.
Yes, it's delusional quality.
So you can't know what your actual influence is.
In fact, what you're saying is true because I'm entering the delusion if I'm engaging in it. It's either I'm not saying I'm doing this, but either I'm saying, I think Amy Schumer, I'm Jewish too, but I think there's so many different sides to this. Like, no, Andy, you don't need to. No, people don't need to know all these things about you anymore.
Right. Well, and that's the luxury that not fucking piping up affords you is a nuanced opinion. The luxury of a nuanced opinion is something that I cherish because that's how I think. That my both sidesism head. I don't know why. The thing just gave a thumbs down on the screen and neither of us made a gesture. It just hated what I had to say, apparently. But like I said, it's like I can see it's doing it again. It's making the thumbs down again.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm doing it.
I feel like you are. I don't know.
With my thoughts,
your body language is just
this
fucking
no good.
Bumming
thumbs
out the
down.
computer.
Thumbs down, Josh.
But like your example is a perfect one of the Israeli conflict. I'm a Jew. That gives me one set of things to believe and think
Right,
about
right.
and hope for, but I'm also a thinking, caring person, which gives me, unfortunately, a sort of opposing set of things
Right.
at this point, and so I'm allowed to have both those feelings, as long as I don't decide that one of them is the one best said out loud to everybody,
Right.
and then have to feel all the blowback about it. I mean, not that I'll get that much blowback because not that many people give a shit about what I say, which is another reason to shut the fuck up.
But like this week, for example, I just had a lot of fun going into all these things because Dennis Leary just keeps coming up. Now he's an in-your-face army person. So I'm just writing a series of premises of he's a disgruntled surgeon, whatever the thing was, just coming up with tons of these examples. To me was funny. It is funny that they keep saying, can he be an angry, he's an out of control air traffic controller was one of the things, right? And just like that simple. I don't have a speech in Montreal. I don't have to do these jokes,
Right.
But this is kind of more my wheelhouse, and I sense like people get upset. Well, you're making fun. It's okay. It's okay. It really is.
It's one
okay.
80s comic making fun of another 80s comic.
Yeah, it's not going to be. He might be laughing. This is the type of thing he might be laughing at it. But it just is unbelievable because you think how far have we come? And it's like he's in the army. Dennis Leary's in the army. Why didn't we think of this before?
Right. It's
Didn't
one step more disciplined than being a fireman.
Well, didn't they also have a show on the WB about the army or
there
something
was the
like
army
that?
show, which I think my friend Toby Huss was in.
And if they couldn't do it, Dennis Leary's not going to do it.
Right.
How was that show? It was okay?
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
I don't remember. I don't remember seeing
but I'm sure it wasn't.
But at least you had the idea. I used to, you like to, when they would try and put alternative comics in something. So funny because it's like almost like we don't know what this thing is, but let's try it, see if it works on a ship. That's all they do is change the premise of the goings on. That's all movies tend to do. That movie stinks. Now I have to learn about pop culture. I don't even know anything about pop culture. Are you okay?
Yeah, there's a giant debris operation taking place outside my window. So.
Are they blowing? Is it leaf blowing?
No, leaf blowers are outlawed right now.
Why don't they outlaw them for good? Yeah.
But there's a giant open-topped semi-trailer that has a line of debris, wind debris-filled dumpsters.
Right.
That are being hydraulically hoisted and dumped into this.
Oh, so then all of those minute particles.
They're all in there. They're all in there.
They're out there. I've been going out with a mask. That's how Jewish I am.
Yeah, that's so surprising.
Really? I thought I was so.
Are you wearing a real mask?
Yeah, and then 95. I don't wear anything.
Good.
If it's not in 95, I won't wear it. That's my commercial for him.
That's good.
What is that?
It's more like.
Is that like a joke about having a mask on?
It is. Yes. Thank you for being only a step behind.
Please don't bring up my stupidity.
Okay.
I've come to. That was you'd have to see that face to know that was a brand new level of a stupid person impression. It's like I don't even know enough to even gesture. What? No, I feel bad about getting on everybody for wait what because I just think it's over. Everything is wait what. That's going to be in the dictionary.
It's still. I just caught one the other day that was really brazen.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Like, that's the worst when they make room for the wait what.
Yeah, when they draw attention to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of burying. Why is it, can you tell me again why it's LEDE? You've told me a few times and I still don't get it.
I don't know. I just know that it is. Yeah.
And it's the type of thing is like, if you talk about it too much, you sound like a little Edwin Newman. Edwin Newman, Andy, really? Is that going to be your cradle to the grave? Go to
Minutia
Who else
guy.
Yeah, who else would fit in that I could update it to?
What?
Edwin Newman. No, I guess there is no current.
Steve Kornacki.
You know who's like a comedian? Edwin Newman would be that guy who used to be on the Tonight Show, and he would.
Gary Goldman is kind of in there.
That's true, but I'm talking about. I wanted to say something negative, and then you brought up a friend.
No, I'm setting
Why
you
did
up.
you do that
I'm
to
setting
me?
you up.
It's really, hey, do you know? I almost went to. We almost at one point we didn't make this decision, but we said maybe we'll go to Vegas. This is what we decided when we were all on the edge of going. Maybe. We said, Susan, let's go to Vegas. Then you go. Why am I'm not driving 5 hours to Vegas. So then we started going. I bet these lovely casinos around here are a lot of fun. Everyone was sold out.
Sure.
And I don't think they're that fun. Morongo.
Doesn't
think so. Say Pachanga.
No.
They don't even have real gambling there, I don't think.
I think they have real blackjack, I believe.
Oh, okay. But I started to think, yeah, I'll go to Morongo. No, you couldn't go to Morongo in those days. You think I was the first idiot in the world to think
I'm
of?
sure the same's happened to Vegas.
Oh, I think... But Vegas is so far that anybody could go to Vegas and get a good deal in the hotel.
No, I'm just saying. I bet it.
People did go to
I
Vegas.
bet A, they weren't getting good deals, and B, a bunch of people went to Vegas.
They're not. This idea about getting good deals, I really think is something that's never going to happen again. That I'm remembering. Here's what I remember.
Hey, there's a massive opportunity of desperate people. Let's lower our prices for them. Doesn't happen.
Like, remember when you used to be on the road and you would rent a car? To me, for a long time, you could rent a car for $100 for the whole week anywhere in the country, right?
A shitty car, yeah.
No, see, that's the thing. I'm wrong about it, and I'm also getting very dewy-eyed about the experience. I used to think,
no, but there used to be like $19 a day kind of deal.
Right,
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
right. But so why do I stick at 68 to those prices again? Okay, well, I keep thinking, well, maybe I'll go to. Where am I going to go? I was thinking Bakersfield. There's no place to go. Santa Barbara would have been nice, but you could be right back in the. First of all, to go to Santa Barbara, I would have had to have gone through some of the fire, right?
I don't know. It seems to me the answer to this quandary is buy a new car if you don't trust the car that you own.
Oh, that hurts. We just put money into. Oh, you know what we call my Toyota? Bessie. Old Bessie.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Bessie. We just got it completely fixed.
I know.
It's ready to go, and it's running very well. I'm even going to get new tires on it because we might give it away at some point to Susan's sister. So it's very exciting.
You're always talking about retiring.
I am retired.
I'm saying retiring.
I don't get that.
You're
I
getting new
just don't get
tires, therefore you're retiring.
Oh my God! It's like doing.
I seem like the dumb guy now.
No, I was dumb. I should have gotten it. And then it would have been just a lovely pun that would have gone by. But no, I had to mess it up. And
you had to hold it up to the light, and it doesn't gleam.
I used to think that was funny, me looking at things from every point of view.
Yeah.
Like if I sit in your house and do the podcast, look at that picture over there. Why is he not going with me on this? Why is he so negative about my hilarious observation about things people can't see in his house? But after a couple of years, you came around to my style.
Let's stay at our homes, I said.
What a great idea. Remember we had a 7-day-a-week podcast at one point, or 5 days a week?
5 days a week, yeah. But they were short. They were short sessions.
Yeah, because you love to hang up on me during it. It took us a while. You don't come up with
It was my way of maintaining control during an out-of-control time. Is being able to hang up on you 5 times a week.
You don't build a entertainment Rome in a day. You know what I'm saying? We didn't come to this first show many years ago and all of a sudden, bang, boom, bang, boom. We developed, and we don't talk off the script. We're like Abbott and Costello. No. Is it Abbott and Costello didn't talk? Yes. They didn't talk, I don't think.
I'm sure most comedy teams didn't speak when they weren't working.
But I think Laurel and Hardy were friendly, though.
Friendly.
They did love
I think
each
they were
other.
friendly.
You know why? Why are you so angry at me? I'm starting to think of you as the person who is hitting me. I don't separate it from the bit.
I feel like my therapist says that you're sabotaging me.
That's right. Also, Oliver, I'm starting to get tired of the bits. They seem old. Didn't you tell me you watched a Laurel and Hardy that was awful? A couple of them?
I did, but I'm sure there's way more than one of those.
Yes, there's got to be way more than. And the fact that when you're a little kid, you think of, oh, Groucho Marx is always funny, W.C. Fields is always funny, and then as you untie it, you realize that, oh God, I'm so boring. My therapist told me, I asked her about this. I said, I feel like I'm boring. And she goes, you are fucking boring. Yes. I feel like I'm just talking about myself and stuff that's not important. That is what you're doing. Welcome to the club. What kind of therapy is that called? Like a Don Rickles type?
I went to a restaurant several months ago. I just was reminded of it yesterday, though. But you sit down. Waiter goes, "How you doing?" "Fine. How are you?" And he goes, "Living the dream." It's like it's not going well from there. You just know that. Yeah.
It can't go well. Because that person's gone outside of the acceptable introductory relationship at a restaurant.
Right. And I was reminded of it because the same thing happened at the grocery store the other day.
Living the dream.
Where
right?
the guy collecting carts, that was an appropriate response.
That's true. Did you ask him how are you?
Yes. How's it going?
Just to get that response, or
no? It was called politeness, making eye contact, exchanging pleasantries with a fellow human being. I
have ice cream melting. That's what I tell people.
Right.
Wow. Why did I end up with that? Why did I punctuate with that?
I watched 2 movies last night. Two current movies. I watched A Real Pain.
That's the one you watched at home, obviously. That's what I wanted to see.
I did, yes.
Talk about that first.
Okay.
Oh, no, you can say both of it. And then
No, please. Direct me more. It was pretty good. I mean, there was stuff I could obviously nitpick, but overall, especially for the kind of actor, writer, and director kind of movie.
Style. Yeah.
It was good. There was lots of unexpected shit. It wasn't a story that was oft told. And Kieran Culkin was fantastic in it, undeniably good in it.
Oh, that's great. Who's the other guy? I forgot.
Jesse Eisenberg is the one who wrote it and directed it.
I have mixed feelings about him.
As do I, and I continue to. But at least he seems to have some. He seems self-aware, at least in terms of what he's playing, and if you're writing for yourself to play that, then you have some self-awareness.
Well, I'm going to see it because that's a good praise for it, and I loved Culkin on
Succession.
Yes, I loved him on that show.
Yeah, he was great. And then I watched A Complete Unknown.
Oh, okay. This is like I feel like it's Christmas morning almost.
Yeah.
In a way. Because, I can't watch that movie. You did watch it.
I did watch it just because I've had the empty-sided conversation enough times now where people have asked me if I've seen it, and I don't want to just be this fire hose of negativity at having not seen it.
Right.
So I'd rather be the fire hose of negativity having seen it. No, it was, I will give it credit for being better than I thought it would be. But still, I didn't really like it. I didn't really
what's all about? What is this, Timothy? Tell me about Timothy Chalamet, about the spell that he puts on the audiences. Why do people love him?
I think they love him largely because he's just a pretty young man.
Right, but has he been in a big movie?
He has.
Loves?
I can't. He has been in big movies, and I can't really connect the dots right now because.
Does he always have this elfin Zephyr look? I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, you see what he looks like. He looks mostly like that when he's acting.
Okay. Well, is it based? Okay, is it based on any reality, or is there anything?
It's based. It's more than loosely based on reality, but it's not faithful to reality.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Is his name Dylan in the movie?
He is Bob Dylan in the movie.
Oh, well, that's
and
different.
Bob Zimmerman.
Oh, well, that's nice.
So, here's the good things about it. In terms of storytelling, they make clear that he was full of shit and an asshole.
Right,
as
right.
a young man.
He is my hero, though, but I will cop to that.
So on that level, I like that they didn't try to clean him up. They didn't,
That's good.
They didn't try to explain him.
Make him more like Mark Twain.
Yeah. But it still had, and mostly good performances. Like the female parts were pretty badly written at times. Meryl Marco wrote this Substack column about the character of Pete Seeger's wife, Toshi, who was like prominently featured screen time wise in the movie,
but not in life.
Well, no, in life she was way more prominent than they portrayed her in the movie. But they gave her no dialogue. They just had her sort of being there as
What was her role in real life? She was
an active partner of Pete Seeger and everything he did, and she produced television shows, and but mostly they had her sort of looking approvingly or disapprovingly, or it was like this glaringly underwritten role, and Meryl Marco wrote a very funny long thing about that in her Substack. So I had read that before I saw the movie, so it was even more glaring, but spot on. It was like I would have noticed myself too. But they definitely compacted the whole going electric thing into just Newport, and it's just silliness.
Did he go to England
No.
It's all Newport based.
They did Newport, and the Judas thing happens at Newport in the movie.
Oh, right. I didn't know that was from Newport.
Huh?
Judas.
I think the
I
Judas
thought that
thing.
was from
I think the
England.
actual Judas thing was from England, and
Yeah.
the I don't believe you thing.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I wish you wouldn't all talk so loud.
But whatever the case, it became, it's just kind of silliness.
Yeah, you're allowed to say, you are allowed to say, look, you have the right to make whatever you want, but I enough already. Enough already with these biopics. I mean, maybe there will be a great biopic of a young Dylan.
But there can't be, is my opinion. I mean, my opinion is there just can't.
It's over.
Well, it's not even that it's over. It's just that the stories are so oft told, and if you care about it, you've heard the stories, and so much of it is just acting out legends, and
yes.
it's like playing with dolls almost. Hey, I'm Bob Dylan. Hey, I'm Pete Seeger. Don't go electric. I'm going to do what I want. Come on, Bob, be good to the movement. And
I kind of like that one with Edie Sedgwick or something. I was watching it on a plane though, so they had Bob Dylan in there too.
Yeah,
I guess I always say when I'm on a plane, all of a sudden things get better.
But it's like you and then you run the risk of it. Like in this case, Johnny Cash played a role, and the casting of Johnny Cash was terrible, and the portrayal of Johnny, it didn't feel.
Who played Johnny Cash?
I don't remember the actor's name, but it was like no one you've heard of, and because I haven't. But it was just bad, it didn't feel like Johnny Cash. He sang and it didn't sound like Johnny Cash. It didn't, it just.
Was it the North Country Fair? Oh, I'm riding on North Country Fair.
No. So it's just a lot of.
I like the way he goes, no. I'm bringing up an actual famous duet between Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash on Nashville Skyline.
Uh-huh.
You know it, right?
Yeah, but you also know that happened 3 years later than the movie. So.
Okay, be quiet. Be quiet. All right, calm down. So that's
but
pretty
Edward
good,
Norton
though.
was great as Pete Seeger. He really was.
Edward Norton is Pete Seeger?
Yes, and great.
Oh, that's
and great. And the other thing that I thought was pretty good about it was the worst thing about music biopics are those moments where the young version of the band plays and everyone has that revelation face.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job of, everyone sang, all the actors sang in the movie.
Okay.
But they did a pretty good job of creating an actual musical moment with a song so that you as the audience could sort of feel the performance and have some reaction to it, as opposed to just taking it on faith that, like when they show comics and they do a joke and it's not that funny, but the audience is really laughing just to show you that the comic is killing.
So
there's like this, they did a pretty good job of that, of like, okay, yeah, you can sort of feel why there was a moment there,
And who played Joan Baez?
It was
Joan Baez.
Monica Barbaro.
Okay.
And she was good. And in fact, I kind of liked her voice better than I liked Joan Baez because it had like one notch less of that formality that Joan Baez had.
She has almost a Buffy St. Marie intensity.
Kind of, or Judy Collins has that sort of same sort of.
But I like Judy Collins.
I love her. Beautiful voice, but there's just like a formality to both of the ways that they sing. That's almost, that keeps it from being rock and roll almost,
Yeah. I guess keep thinking of Cat Ernest. His name should have been Cat Ernest. Until I got hurt. I'm still fascinated by the fact that he redid his album Not Well, right? It sounded like Buttoned Up.
The Yosef Islam version.
Yeah.
Yeah, it lost the youthful spirit that buoyed it.
Well, there's a lot of people doing, like Lucinda Williams is singing a lot of Beatles songs, and I love Lucinda Williams. I mean, there is more music now, but as it was pointed out in
but isn't that like, I mean, isn't doing Beatles songs now like like Sinatra doing the Great American Songbook? I mean, these are 60-year-old songs.
I agree. I'm not gonna. Well, it's like Ricky Lee Jones singing things like "Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying." I love her version of that, but she's not doing a million of those. She's done
right.
But Lucinda is like having kind of I hate to say having a moment, but her stuff is all over but she's so great.
Yeah.
That I kind of like everything that she's doing. But no, in terms of, do I want to see Schmimpy sing Schmackel? Probably not something that I will turn into a cottage industry. Have you seen Dylan saying, you know what I'm saying? Stop looking at me like I have a problem. Stop it.
I'm trying to help you, Andy. I'm trying to help.
Help me. I'm just so impressed by my ability to listen for an hour to things.
Yeah.
It's like I'm high-fiving myself interiorly. Like, what a guy. Why can't I do this every week? Why?
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
What? Come on. You love me. This is my thing. I want to start every Monday and every Friday with you at the end going, you're a good person. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
That's what you can't get, Josh. You have to get that from yourself.
That's right.
That has to come.
Well, I mean, no one's going to say it is really the point.
True. Do we have any? We have no letters.
We have no. There probably someone did, but I can look if you want. Well, nothing highly apparent. So if you asked a question with a hashtag, do it again next week, please.
Yeah, next week. And you know what? You guys need a week off from it. You know what I mean? The constant question answer.
That's right.
It's nowhere.
It's like
go,
a flood
baby.
of information we're sending your way.
Yeah. You know what?
We're like a couple of Edwin Newmans.
We're supposed to come up with the show. It's not supposed to be based on questions. That's what Paul Simon does when he's 90. Do you have any questions about parsley, sage, rosemary, and or thyme?
And they'll go, Mr. Simon, I have a question. See, because he's deaf now.
Oh, he said, I am, by the way, I am.
You're deaf?
Not deaf, but I'm officially at that part of the age. I couldn't believe when my father was at this age.
Yeah.
Why is he resisting? I need a hearing thing of some type.
Have you made an audiologist appointment?
I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on it. With
you don't have to anymore, though.
Oh, so where do you go? You go to Costco, or what do you do? You don't go to Costco.
I don't go to Costco for anything. You just, there's a whole bunch of consumer hearing aids now.
I don't want it to be part of my AirPod.
Well, you can, though. If you needed it, you can at least make your AirPods be able to do that.
Oh, maybe I should do it then.
Yeah. It's like you don't have to walk around that time, like all the time, but it'd be nice to have the tool, wouldn't it?
It's just I cannot believe that I finally
and then you
turned...
look like a hipster listening to a podcast as opposed to an old fucking fossil.
Oh, that wasn't necessary.
No, it wasn't.
I'm not that much older. I am. The thing is, you still can do it because I'm quite a bit older than you. It's
You
not
really
like I'm
are.
5 years older.
You're a
than
full
you.
generation older.
That's ridiculous. So you're never going to not be able to mock me.
You're never going to be able to do.
If you like what you're hearing today,
If you like what you're hearing today,
Go ahead.
and you'd like to support the show,
and you'd
I
like to
don't think-
support the show,
you see, it doesn't bother me because I'm so comfortable with my own persona that no matter how much he mocks it, why don't you go ahead and get a coffee, Dot Schmeckel? Also,
what he's trying to say is buymeacoffee.com/SoundSpiral.
Oh, wait.
hurricane your mother.